This is Fleet Admiral Maria Vasquez, retired. I once ordered 40,000 sailors to jump into the void with fire axes and kitchen knives. It was the sanest decision I ever made. This is Case File 552. This is the story of the Korvath boarding action, and the day humanity reminded the galaxy that technology is not what makes us dangerous. The Nexari Collective had been at war with humanity for 3 years. Unlike most species, they did not try to match us ship for ship, weapon for weapon. They were scientists, not warriors. They studied us. They found our weakness. Humanity's military power was built on technology. Our ships, our weapons, our shields, our communications, everything depended on electronic systems. Remove those systems, and our mighty warships became metal coffins. The Nexari spent decades developing the Cascade Pulse, a weapon that generated a massive electromagnetic burst, specifically tuned to disrupt human electronics. Not alien systems, human systems. They tested it on captured ships, on stolen technology, on every piece of human equipment they could acquire. When they were ready, they chose their moment. The Third Fleet. 200 warships. 40,000 sailors. Our primary force in the outer territories. Me. We entered the Korvath Nebula, pursuing what we thought was a retreating Nexari task force. Standard engagement. Standard tactics. It was a trap. The Cascade Pulse detonated at 14:37 hours. One moment, my bridge was alive with displays and communications and the hum of power systems. The next moment, darkness. Total darkness. Every system on every ship failed simultaneously. Main power, backup power, emergency batteries. Everything with an electronic component simply stopped working. 200 ships, 40,000 people, dead in space. The emergency lighting did not activate because the emergency lighting required electronics. We were left with chemical glow sticks and the stars visible through our viewports. I grabbed a chemical light and assessed our situation. Life support was offline. We had approximately 3 hours of breathable air remaining in the ship's atmosphere. After that, carbon dioxide buildup would begin killing the crew. Engines were offline. We could not move, could not maneuver, could not escape. Weapons were offline. We could not fight. Communications were offline. I could not contact other ships, could not coordinate, could not call for help. We were dead. We just had not stopped breathing yet. Through the viewport, I could see Nexari ships approaching. 500 of them, moving slowly, confidently. They knew what they had done. They knew we were helpless. They did not fire. Why waste ammunition? They would simply wait for us to suffocate, then salvage our ships and study our corpses. Perfect efficiency. Perfect logic. Perfect mistake. I gathered my senior officers using runners, actual human beings carrying messages through the corridors like we were back in the age of sail. Report! Chief Engineer Kowalski spoke first. All electronics are dead, Admiral. The pulse was specifically designed to fry human circuitry. I cannot restore any systems without completely rebuilding them from scratch. That would take days. We have hours. Weapons Officer Park was next. Missiles are dead. Plasma cannons are dead. Point defense is dead. Even the manual targeting systems require electronic components to function. We have nothing that can shoot. I nodded. What do we have that still works? Silence for a moment. Then Marine Commander Okonkwo spoke. We still work, Admiral. I looked at him. The pulse killed our technology. It did not kill us. We have 40,000 human beings on these ships. We have emergency spacesuits that use purely mechanical systems. We have hand tools, fire axes, kitchen knives, and anything else we can pick up and swing. He leaned forward. The Nexari ships are right there, unshielded because they don't expect an attack, crewed by scientists who have never fought hand-to-hand in their lives. I began to understand what he was suggesting. You want to board them? I want to take them, all 500 ships, with our bare hands if necessary. I should have dismissed the idea as insane. It was insane. Jumping through space in emergency suits to board enemy vessels with improvised weapons was not a military tactic. It was something out of ancient history, from the days when humans fought with swords and axes. But we had no other options. How many emergency suits do we have? Standard complement is 1 per crew member. 40,000 suits across the fleet. Communications? Line of sight signaling, chemical flares, physical hand signals, nothing electronic. I considered the mathematics. 40,000 humans, 500 enemy ships. That was 80 boarders per ship, against crews that averaged 200 Nexari each. The odds were not good, but the alternative was sitting in darkness, waiting to die. Do it! All hands, all ships, suit up, grab anything that can be used as a weapon. We are boarding the enemy fleet. The next hour was organized chaos. Crew members throughout the fleet suited up in emergency spacesuits. Simple mechanical systems designed to function without electronics. They grabbed whatever they could find that might serve as a weapon. Fire axes from emergency stations, wrenches and hammers from engineering bays, kitchen knives from mess halls, metal pipes pulled from non-essential systems. We looked like primitives, savages preparing for a raid. We were. Communication between ships was impossible with electronics dead. But we had prepared for this contingency in training, never expecting to actually use it. Chemical flares in specific colors and patterns, visible across the void. I launched a red flare from my bridge, the signal to prepare. Across the fleet, red flares answered. 200 ships confirming readiness. I launched a green flare, the signal to attack. 40,000 humans opened airlocks and jumped into the void. I was among them. An admiral should not lead a boarding action. Protocol says I should have remained on my ship, coordinating from safety. But my ship was dead. There was nothing to coordinate, and I was not going to order my sailors into a fight I was not willing to join. I wore an emergency suit with 6 hours of oxygen. I carried a fire axe and a kitchen knife. I pushed off from the flagship's airlock and aimed myself at the nearest Nexari vessel. The void was full of humans, thousands of suited figures, drifting through space on minimal thrust, carrying improvised weapons toward enemy ships that glowed with power and life. We should have been terrified. We were jumping into nothingness, toward enemies with functional technology, armed with tools our ancestors would have recognized. We were not terrified. We were furious. The Nexari had killed our ships. They had taken our technology, our power, everything that made modern humans modern. They had reduced us to primitives. Fine. We would show them what primitives could do. The first boarders reached the Nexari vessels within 20 minutes. Emergency suits had minimal thrust capability, just enough to adjust trajectory and slow for docking. The Nexari had made another miscalculation. They had not sealed their airlocks. Why would they? Their enemy was dead in space. No threat could possibly reach them. They were observing, studying, waiting for us to die. They were not prepared for humans cutting through their airlocks with industrial torches simple chemical flame that required no electronics. The first Nexari ship was boarded at 15-17 hours. The crew never stood a chance. Nexari were not warriors. They were scientists, engineers, technicians. They had never experienced hand-to-hand combat. Their species had evolved past physical conflict millennia ago. Humans had not. 80 humans with fire axes stormed through their corridors. The Nexari had sidearms, electronic weapons that worked perfectly. But electronic weapons require time to aim, time to fire, time that did not exist when a screaming human was already swinging an axe at your head. The ship was captured in 11 minutes. All 200 Nexari crew members were dead or subdued. Human casualties. 3 wounded. None killed. The pattern repeated across the enemy fleet. Nexari ships died one by one. Not to superior technology. Not to advanced weapons. To humans with hammers and kitchen knives. Humans who had crossed the void in emergency suits. Humans who had decided that if they were going to die anyway, they would die with their hands around enemy throats. The Nexari commander tried to organize a defense. He ordered ships to seal airlocks, to arm crews, to prepare for boarders. Too late. By the time his orders reached most of his fleet, humans were already inside. And once humans were inside, the battle was already over. I boarded a Nexari cruiser at 1600 hours. My boarding party was 40 sailors, cooks, engineers, maintenance workers, not Marines, not soldiers, just humans. We killed 60 Nexari in the first corridor. I personally killed 7 with my fire axe. I am not proud of that. I am not ashamed either. They had tried to murder 40,000 of my sailors by suffocation. They deserved what they received. By 1700 hours, we had captured 112 Nexari ships. By 1800 hours, 247. By 1900 hours, 391. The remaining Nexari vessels tried to flee. They powered up their engines, attempted to escape the nebula, to warn their civilization about what humans could do. We did not let them. Captured Nexari ships, now crewed by humans who had figured out the basic controls, pursued and boarded the fleeing vessels. We had their technology now. We could match their speed. But we did not use their weapons. We boarded every single ship personally. We killed every crew with our hands. Because we wanted them to know. We wanted the last thing every Nexari saw to be a human face, human rage, human fury. We wanted them to understand that their perfect weapon, their technological solution, their carefully planned victory, had failed because they forgot what humans truly are. We are not our technology. We are the apes who learned to use fire, the primitives who conquered a world, the savages who built civilization from nothing and will rebuild it again if we have to. Take our ships, and we will take yours. Disable our weapons, and we will use our hands. Kill our technology, and we will remember that our ancestors killed mammoths with pointed sticks. We are human, and we are never helpless. By 2100 hours, the battle was over. 500 Nexari ships captured, every single one. 47,000 Nexari crew members dead. Human casualties. 2,318 killed. 4,900 wounded. We had traded 2,000 lives for 500 ships and the complete destruction of an enemy fleet. And we had done it with fire axes. The aftermath of Korvath changed the war. The Nexari collective had built their entire strategy around the Cascade Pulse. They had believed it would neutralize human military power completely. They were wrong. When word of Korvath spread, the Nexari military collapsed into panic. Their wonder weapon, their technological solution, had made humans more dangerous, not less. Because humans with technology are frightening. Humans without technology are terrifying. The war ended 4 months later. The Nexari surrendered unconditionally. They agreed to destroy all Cascade Pulse technology. They agreed to never develop anti-human EMP weapons again. They agreed because they were afraid. Not of our ships, not of our weapons, not of our technology. Afraid of us. 40,000 humans in emergency suits, carrying fire axes and kitchen knives, jumping through the void to kill them with their bare hands. That image haunted the Nexari. It haunts them still. They learned what every species eventually learns about humanity. You can defeat our technology. You can disable our weapons. You can neutralize every advantage we have built over centuries of development. But you cannot defeat us. Because we are not our tools. We are the species that makes tools, that adapts tools, that discards tools when necessary, and fights with whatever remains. Take everything from a human, and you still have a human. And a human, with nothing left to lose, is the most dangerous thing in the galaxy. This is Fleet Admiral Maria Vasquez, signing off. Case File 552 is now closed. They disabled our ships. They killed our technology. They thought they had won. Then 40,000 humans jumped into the void with fire axes, and we took their entire fleet. By hand. Let that